Yo, what's good, YouTube? Zamcrow here, aka Scoop, back with another post-competitive Wi-Fi battle. It's for the International Trainers League, and it's week 2 of season 4, and we're taking on Akki, pronouncing that right, and the Portland Crobats, of course, good buddy of mine. Excuse me. Good buddy of mine, an excellent battler, and he has a pretty solid squad. He brought the Mega Sableye, the Talonflame, the Rhyperior, the Luxray, the Mamoswine, and the Mew. And I brought the same team I brought in week 1, but different sets, obviously. Brought Mega Diancie, Mandibuzz, Rotom Heat, Jirachi, Tentacruel, and Miltank. So my initial plan was to lead with not Jirachi, Mega Diancie, and set my rocks up, assuming he leads his Mega Sableye. I kind of didn't think he'd want me to be able to allow Miltank or Jirachi to set up rocks, and I figured he'd lead with Sableye. But as you can see right here as we start the battle, he does not lead Mega Sableye, and he leads Mia Wallace, his Mew. So my plan was to set up a substitute and then set up rocks if he leads Sableye, but I'm going to have to hard switch out here, and I can switch right into my Mandibuzz and take the incoming Psychic or Flash Cannon or any kind of Steel type move. Wasn't going to allow that to happen. And here I'm predicting Ice Beam or Volt Switch, so I switch out to my Rotom Heat. Absorb that nice and dandy there. But he's going to go straight to his Willfork, who is his Rhyperior, and he's going to be able to set up rocks here probably. He may go for a Rock Blast, but probably just going to set up his rocks. And he does go for the Rock Blast, so good play on his part, especially since this is an offensive Tentacruel and didn't take that too well. And he's going to hard switch out into his Luxray, and he's going to find out that I'm an offensive Tentacruel. I almost went for the second Scald, predicting this to be defensive Luxray with Intimidate and Rocky Helmet for my Star Raptor that I didn't bring, but just a little too risky, and he's able to go for his Volt Switch there as I switch into my Rotom. But he is burnt now and way below half. And here I'm going to almost hit the HP Ice, but it wasn't going to do much. His ability's insane and his bulk's insane. So I hard switch out to my Miltank here. Predicting a switch here. I switch out to my Jirachi, but he actually just sets up his Stealth Rocks. So I'm not in a good position, actually. Predicted him to switch out, and he did not, which is fine. I can switch right back into my Miltank and tank any hit he wants to go for. And he switches to the Luxray. I get my leftovers back, and he gets his burn damage off there. And I'm going to use Milk Drink here. And he's actually going to reveal Rest. So he's actually a Rest Talk variant, which is pretty cool. It's actually really cool. I like Luxray. I like its design. Wish it was better competitively. But I don't make the Pokemon, and I don't give them their abilities and stats though. So not as intimidating as I'd like it to be. Pun intended. He's able to get the Volt Switch here on the Sleep Talk, so lucky roll to get the perfect attack off there and be able to go into whatever he wants. And as you can see, he brings in the Will Fork again. And he's actually going to go for the Rock Blast, predicting my switch again. And he gets 4 of them this time, so that's pretty cool. I went for the milk drink as he goes for the toxic. I know this is a terrible narration because I'm eating and drinking, so you have to bear with me. But I reveal the Hill Bell immediately, and he goes for the Rock Blast again. Here he switches out, predicting maybe my frustration again. Maybe wanted to knock off my item or something. Here I'm going to set up a sub, predicting him to switch. Kind of a misplay on my part. Should have just set up rocks. And I would have possibly had 2 attacks off. Maybe. Don't know. Depends on his attack investment there on the special side. Here I'm going to bring out Jirachi and I'm going to set up a substitute. As this thing is asleep. So I'm actually in a decent position here. I misclick though and go for Iron Head. And yeah, as you can see, I meant to go for Ancient Power. Not doing too much. But with Serene Grace, I'm going to be able to get the boost in all my attacks. So I'm at +1 everything except neutral attack and +1 at everything else. Now I'm +1 attack and +2 everything else. And perhaps my first misclick didn't really matter much, but here I meant to set up another sub. But I actually accidentally used Ancient Power and knocked out the Luxray. So I'm not going to have my sub that I would have had. And probably would have been GG at that point. And here I'm going to go for the Iron Head. And barely miss out on the knockout and get knocked out. So there's not going to be a Jirachi sweep. But I will be able to revenge kill this with my Tentacruel. Oh yeah. When he saw the Ancient Power and the attack boost, or the stat boost, he said, "Please don't do this to me." I thought that was hilarious. He's a great sport, great friend of mine. He said he wanted to see what kind of sets I would bring with Jirachi, and I actually think that was probably the most heat set I will bring all season. Substitute T-Wave, Iron Head, Ancient Power. Very unfortunate that I fucked it up and it didn't work out. I'm gonna skip about 20 turns, literally, because the rest of this battle is Miltank versus Rhyperior stalling each other out with leftovers recovery plus Earthquake and Rock Blast and Toxic versus Miltank's Milk Drink, Heal Bell, Counter, and Frustration. Counter was actually the only way I could deal damage to the Rhyperior, and at one point almost well, didn't almost, but it did do some big damage. As soon as the screen pops up here in a second. Maybe shouldn't have did that. But I really don't have time to narrate 25 turns. 25 turns of pure stall. Unfortunately. As you can see, I just went from turn, I think it was like 29 to 42, and they're still on the field. So basically what happens is I was able to create an opening as he went for toxic. I was able to switch into my tentacle on the Rhyperior. But he swapped out into Mew, I believe. I think. Yeah, here it is. Basically couldn't do any damage and had to die to Life Orb. And that pair right there can potentially win me the game. But I'm going to go for Overheat here, which is kind of a misplay on my part because it didn't knock out. But it had a chance with my investment. So I had to go for it. I'm going to hard switch into my She-Bone here, Mandibuzz, as he just rushed off the damages that I could have done. And he's going to hard switch into his Mamoswine, which I thought was a misplay as I go for the foul play. And here I feel like now I'm back in a position to win. All I got to do is live this Icicle Crash, which I will, and go for the foul play and knock him out. But Pokemon. That's Pokemon for you. What can I do? So now I've lost. I'm going to hard switch out into my Miltank, which is actually not thick fat, but he couldn't tell because it was a crit. Here I'm going to go into my Rotom. He goes for the Earthquake. He gets rid of the rocks, which pretty much allows his Mamoswine to come back in whenever it wants. And at this point, the match is pretty much over. Who has more toxic than I have Hill Bell? And I just forfeit the match. So, good game to him. He deserved the win. I guess my misclick on Jirachi really sucked, and then the flinch on Mandibuzz really sucked as well. But yeah, it was a fun game nonetheless. Really got hot there for my Jirachi, and we moved to 1-1, and we faced the Hamden Hydreigons next week, I do believe. So that'll be a fun match. Never played him in league format, actually. Never played him at all, J-Specs. So we look forward to that, and we're going to try to bounce back. I'll see you guys then.